on your end?
Just now.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Coworking Cuppa. It's something that I do every Wednesday afternoon at 1:30. And today we have our first ever guest. So this is Betsy Arntzen. She's a licensed massage therapist. She's also a virtual Anchorspace member. And something that comes up a lot is our home work setups and otherwise trying to figure out how to work smarter. And Betsy has been helping people for a long time, hundreds of people with lots of common workplace type injuries, and she has got some great insights. So thanks for being here, Betsy. Anything I left out?
Thank you, Nicole. It's great to be here. I appreciate you asking me. Yeah, I've been in business about 10 years helping people unpack their muscles for increased range of motion and least pain. So I am a massage therapist, but I'm more like a muscle mechanic. I'm going to figure out what's going on and help unpack it.
Right. So just a little thing right here at the beginning where if you Betsy can help you so Betsy's based in Ellsworth, Maine, but obviously, we're based just about everywhere in the world who's watching this right now. But Betsy can give what's called a virtual consult. So you can do things like take pictures of your workspace or do a video, and she can consult with you and help you alleviate injuries or improve your setup and that kind of thing. So just email her if you're interested at the end of this broadcast in basically having your own consult. So let's get started. I sent you some questions ahead of time, but if you think of anything else you want to talk about, Betsy, feel free to throw it in there. Should we see the sample setup that we got sent, or should we start with the questions first?
Let's do the questions first.
All right. Yeah. So basically what I was asking Betsy is, as somebody who's been working with people for over a decade and a lot of workers' comp type clients and things like that, you probably see similar issues over and over again. And what are some of those issues that you see for people who work from home in particular?
The three I see that are common are these. The hunch.
Oh, I can feel I was just doing that.
I'm going to exaggerate. Not everyone looks so bad, but it's a specific fulcrum of the mid back. And women, it's always at the bra line, the right the bra itself line. This is me not having a hunch, and then this is hunching. So that would be one. The second one is slouching, which is sitting on the tailbone, a slouch. The couch allows for the slouch. Your car seat allows for a slouch. It's hard to counteract those two, but you can definitely counteract it in your chair. And then the third very common ailment is turtlenecking, which is way out and way down. Again, I'm exaggerating.
No, I know.
But these days, it's also known as text neck. So your neck is out and hanging. And by the way, that's how you end up getting that dowager's hump at the C7 vertebrae. It's because the head is so far off the spine. Yeah. So let's just do turtlenecking first.
Yeah.
So when you turtleneck, you're looking at your computer really intently. Can you change something with your glasses? Can you get the screen to go further back? Can you use an external keyboard so that you are positioning yourself so your neck isn't looking? A second hint would be, can you get the font even bigger on your screen? Yes, you can. You press Control plus sign, and it makes your program, whatever's on your screen, a bigger font. Control plus, and then minus to go backwards.
Yep. And if you're on a Mac, Command plus. Same idea. Same thing. They're right next to each other. So if you're on a Mac, Command. If you're on a PC, plus, or Control, and then the plus sign.
Perfect. So you can adjust things on your own computer without getting a magnifying overlay or whatever, or changing your glasses. So your neck is out and then hanging down, and you probably are all familiar with hanging down to look at your phones as well. So thing number one is when you do this, it shortens the muscles in the front of your neck. So stretch those back, and then another stretch is that you double chin yourself. And this is just a stretch. This is not walking around posture. It's just a stretch to line up your vertebrae. Mm-hmm. So one thing you can do to help yourself at your workstation when you're looking down at your papers, let's say you do that at your desk, Have your head in alignment, and then chin on chest and eyeballs pointing down. That's a sustainable,
Oh, yeah.
sustainable posture that doesn't bring you out of alignment. It doesn't shorten all your front muscles. Yeah. Another suggestion for when you're looking at your phone, put your arm underneath, balance your arm so that you're bringing it closer to your eye level. Or if you're sitting down, maybe you want to put a pillow on your lap so things are a little bit higher, so that you're not moving your neck that much. Your neck is
Oh.
versus this here. Yeah. When you make little micro changes like this, it affects everything in a positive way. So
that's great.
That's the turtleneck. Let's do the hunch. The hunch is when you're concentrating. You've got a lot of things going on. You've got a deadline, but you get your back in a way that is hunched over, and this makes the shoulders go forward and high as well. So you've got two different muscles that are going to be in pain. The ones in the front and the ones on the top. I have to undo because it's uncomfortable for me. In, let's say, a long stretch of time, you're laying down stress every minute that you're in the hunch. However, if you can take a break for 30 seconds even, or a minute if you can do that, and then just do something that's the opposite, like clasping hands, maybe putting the hands on the back of the chair and really stretching. I'll demonstrate that sideways. So here's my chair. And I'm clasping my hands, and I'm putting my forearms on the chair, and now I'm really aggressively rolling back my shoulders. I'm letting the tension out since first sitting down to right now. So going forward to the end of your session, you have less stress.
So how often would you recommend someone sort of pause and do a counteractive stretch like that? Like every 20 minutes, every hour-ish? Like what's a good?
I think it's more logical and useful if you have natural breaks in your work. It's time to have a pee, it's time to have a drink, it's time for lunch. I finished all those emails or whatever is your stopping point. Then take some kind of a break and get the tension from your start to right then off you.
Mm-hmm.
A third one is the slouch, and the hunch comes from the slouch. So slouch and hunch are really kind of together. I'm going to show you my chair, which is a really good 1950s metal chair.
Yeah, classic.
Classic, yeah, vintage. So the slump is sitting on the tailbone. So here I am. I know you can't see too much, but here I am upright, and then here I am slouch. I'm on the tailbone. Mm-hmm. So I want you to try this, or whoever's watching this to try this. I'm going to say it out loud, and I'm going to demonstrate. So sitting posture is the fake tail, your pretend tail from your tailbone way in the air. So you're going to put your tail way in the air, and it's called a flat back. It will feel like this versus this. It'll feel like concave. But you're going to have a flat back, and now start sitting so that your thighs are going to touch the chair itself. Now my thighs have touched the chair. I'm sitting on just those little bony prominences, the sits bones, but my torso is still forward. Now bring your torso vertical until you feel, you're in alignment.
But wow.
That I have a gap between my chair and my back. I'm not going to meet the chair. That's hunch. I'm going to stay away from the chair, but that's not too comfortable. So let's have a pillow there. So this is not a lumbar pillow. This is take up the space pillow. So my rear end is very far back in the chair. I'm sitting on the sits bones. And I'm going to show you with my little guy what I'm talking about because you didn't see what I'm doing. So I have this little guy. Here we are. Woo!
I like it just comes in on the side. Love it.
So this little guy, he's a gent. You can tell by the deltoids here. So he's sitting on the very bony prominences on the bottom, very little bony parts of his rear end. So he's sitting on those, and then he's bringing his torso to vertical. Not the head, sir. No. Okay. So there's not going to be any space. Sorry, there's going to be a space between his back and the end of the back of the chair. Fine. Okay.
Do you have a little tiny pillow for him?
Sorry, little guy. No pillow. No pillow.
Pillow for you.
Another way to accomplish this is with a wedge.
Oh.
Which you do not have to buy. You don't have to buy this wedge. This comes from the yoga industry. You put your foot on it and you have a calf stretch. I use this to sit on, but you can also use a rolled up towel. So let's try this.
Oh, okay.
So the rolled up towel is on the back of the chair. Mm-hmm. And also this is great for the back of the car seat as well. So again, I'm going to do the same posture with my tail in the air.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my tail bones, my little ischial tuberosities on the pillow, towel. And now my knees are slightly lower than my hips. My hips are in a good position. They're a little bit angled. This is fine. Again, big gap between the back of the chair. Sorry, you can't really see that much.
That's okay. Yeah, no. We're falling.
Yeah, put the pillow in there if I want that. But the point is, my torso is vertical. I can breathe easily. Ooh, I can breathe easily.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
The hunch creates constriction in the diaphragmatic muscles. It makes you have to breathe more quickly and shallowly, and it trips the sympathetic nervous system, which is like, oh no, I'm behind. Ooh, I'm not doing as well. It's like it trips the saber-toothed tiger reaction. But if you've got an at ease, you're able to breathe with belly breathing, diaphragmatic belly breathing. So breath in, belly expands, breath out, belly relaxes. That's diaphragmatic breathing, like when you're singing. And that is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. And you'll still have all the same problems, but all of a sudden it will come to mind, Fred can take care of that. Let's call Joe. You can just take care of things because you're breathing more easily. Mm-hmm. So I think the difficulty and the anxiety of the workplace is sometimes related to the posture. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's really hard that, the last, 6-ish months, we've all been sort of forced to work from home, and a lot of us haven't really thought through our setup, and as we're kind of going into, I guess, a longer winter where we're spending more time indoors, like, I think this is a really good time for people to look at their home workplace setup and make some of these really simple changes where you don't have to buy the $300 office chair, you don't have to whatever. There's certain things you can do to just micro adjust, which I think is really encouraging. Now, something you always tell, so by the way, full disclosure, everyone, Betsy's my massage therapist. So whenever I am within 100 miles of Betsy, I will rearrange my whole schedule to get a massage from her because she's amazing. But whenever we meet, she always tells me I need to kind of move throughout the workday. And obviously a lot of us, so I have a laptop, which I never work on for the precise reason that it makes me look down. I need to use an external keyboard. I need to use a separate keyboard and lift it up if I'm going to work from my laptop. But so I have this very set workplace setup. I have a desk in my house and chair and screens and all that. But how would someone like me or anybody who's watching it incorporate movement into like a home work setup if they don't have infinite space, if they don't have, a cool treadmill desk or something like that?
Yeah, good question, Nicole. And by the way, folks, Nicole is one of my perfect clients. So thank you.
I have. Betsy says she likes interesting problems, so I like to think that I have interesting problems.
So one of my phrases I think really summarizes this concept well is movement good, static bad. Static is bad because you're building up the stress and you're building up the stress and you're building up the stress. Movement, you're undoing from the stress. So one thing you can do is get a stool, $10 at Walmart. This is the mouse pad right on that. So my arm position is out and down for holding the mouse. It's not forward at all. So my right shoulder is calm with the mouse.
Oh,
That's one thing. You can switch around where your mouse is. Not here, more like here and here. Another thing would be in sitting on the chair to straddle it in such a way that your right leg and your left leg are over the side. Like with my dude here, be like this.
Okay.
Kind of like
we're riding a horse.
Yes, like you're riding a horse on the chair. Exactly.
Okay.
Or another one might be that you put your right glutes on the chair and you have your right leg off. Let's try a little dude here, see if we can do this. So his
wait, how's he putting his leg up? Oh, I see.
He's sitting on the chair, but just with one glute. And then this is my chair. And then his other leg is off on the floor. And typically he'd be kneeling because he'd be kneeling on the floor and he's stretching his hip in here with this leg that is vertical, this thigh that is vertical. And then he can change over. Let's see, little dude can do this.
Could change over to his other side.
Sits on the chair.
He's a little off screen. Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Sits on the chair in this way, and his other leg now is off, kneeling, and he's stretching this side. So right here, yeah. So there's another way of movement. Okay, little dude, see you later. And another way might be, and people talk about this a lot, is bring your laptop up onto a shelf or a bookcase, and then the external keyboard, very important for this situation. You can stand up and look at your screen, and then your laptop typing lower, but then you want to not hike your hip. So a hip hike all day long at the stand-up desk is sitting in a hunch. You want to kind of play around with it, bend your knees, so kind of like pretend you're on the deck of a boat and you've got you a little bit of movement. And another way is just to bring your whole situation down onto your coffee table and then sit on the floor cross-legged on a pillow, and you've got everything lower. Couple of ideas.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I kind of like the hack of, I mean, obviously we have stand-sit desks at Anchor Space. And by the way, if you're near one of our locations, we do rent them out if you want to try it at home. But I like the hack. If you don't feel like doing that, you can just use your like a bookcase or something as sort of a as needed stand desk occasionally, to kind of change out that movement. That's a really good idea. And the final question that I had for you, and I think this is gonna be nice and interactive, was about stretches. And I know that stretching is really important. It sounds like to counteract static movements, to also counteract like your muscles are doing one thing, so you have to like do something with the muscles going in the opposite direction. What are some good sort of we're working at home type stretches that we can do without any really special equipment or I don't know, super flexibility anyway, at least on my end.
Thank you. So go ahead and put up the title of the one stretch.
Oh, yeah, sure. So this is
down dog against the wall. So I'm going to do it with the chair. So here's the top of my chair, and I'm putting it way out in front. And again, I'm having a flat back, which is going to look and feel concave, and I'm hinging at the hips. So there's no bending. I'm not bending at all. I'm hinging. Sorry.
Yep. You're
hinge, good. Tail in the air, flat back, and then moving. So my elbows are locked.
Okay.
Open. They're locked open, and I'm moving my scapula up and down.
So in this scenario, would the wall be behind us? Like we have our heels kind of.
Or you would put it or instead of the chair here, you would be against the wall doing this.
Oh, okay, got it. I wasn't sure where the wall position was. Got it. Yep.
Sorry, the wall would be.
Okay, cool.
So that would be. It's like a down dog if you know the yoga posture, but you don't have to be completely hinged over. You're just against the wall or your chair.
Yep.
And you're moving your scapula up and down with your back muscles.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one. Fluff arm swing is you bend your knee a little bit,
Uh-huh.
And you let the centrifugal motion flap your arms around.
Nice.
You want to bend your knees. That's important. You don't want to torque your knees at all. And you just let your arms flop around. That's very relaxing, and
I feel like I've seen little kids naturally do that. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool.
Your joints too.
I like the names of all these. Well,
So here comes my little dude again.
Oh yeah, I like this guy.
Important for let's see. His legs are in the air. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So here's the idea where you're lying flat on the floor. Mm-hmm. You're completely flat on the floor. Head down. Yes. Flat on the floor. Flat, flat, flat. And then your legs are up onto the couch.
Okay. And they're bent at like a 90-degree angle.
Yes. Everything's at 90. Dude can't do it, but you can. Yeah. So if you can lie like this for even 5 minutes, you're going to flatten out your back. You're going to take the stress of the day off your back. Your head has no pillow. Important, no pillow. So, dude, let's go down with your head. There we go. And that's a great stretch. This is not really an active stretch so much as it's stretching out your back without doing a squat. Thank you, dude.
Yeah. Well, and that's good because a lot of these stretches too. I mean, you can. Well, minus the one lying on the ground. But the first two you can definitely do at an office. Like if you still have to go into the office and, somebody might walk by and think you're a little bit weird, like flopping around. But it's like, you're not. It's completely work appropriate, I think, to do some of these things, even if you have to share an office with other people. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else about workplace ergonomics, Betsy, that you want to talk about before we close out today?
Let's look at an example.
Right. I forgot about our example. So we did have, we had someone send us in their workplace setup. Now, this is a pretty extreme setup because she's like a digital nomad. So she literally lives inside a camper van and she works from there. So she sent us a couple of pictures. So she has these cabinets or these counters that sort of pull out. Which allow additional workspace. But also she says, that sometimes, well, a lot of the time she's sitting in her bed working. So if you identify with maybe not having a lot of space, this is kind of an extreme example of definitely not having a lot of space. Right. Do you want me to keep these pictures up as you talk, Betsy, or do you want me to take them down?
Yeah, just start with this one.
Yeah.
So typically she is writing a book. So she's writing a book for hours at a time, and it's cold outside. So she's literally indoors, probably just right there, like her teddy bear, just kind of against the pillows with her laptop on her lap. If she were to move the laptop to the end of the bed where the backpacks are hanging and put it on top of a bin or a box that she might have, then she could sit up straight, cross-legged, maybe even on a pillow at a little bit of a slant where her hips are slightly higher than her knees, and have her external keyboard on her lap. She might have a better ergonomic situation. But let's go to the second picture and see something else.
Yeah, sure.
Now she's got a drawer that comes out. I don't know if she can sit on the edge of the bed and get her knees under that shelf, but maybe she doesn't need to do that. But anyway, that would be a way to make it be a chair, so that she sits on the blue bedspread, the dark blue bedspread, like that's the chair. But then on this cutting board item, she could put something higher so that the keyboard screen is at her horizontal to her eyes. And then again, with the external keyboard on her lap, she can accomplish her typing that way. So yeah, that would help her out with sitting for several hours.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, if you can make that kind of setup, if you can, make these small changes even within a van, you can imagine what you can do if you had a little bit more space, if you had different kinds of furniture to be on. Because it sounds like, mostly she's like on her bed and I think they have a couple of chairs in the space as well, maybe like that fold, or at the very least the van seats, the passenger seat or in the driver's seat.
Right, yeah.
So
but she needs this. She needs an external keyboard for thing number one. And then go from there with what else would help her unpack from being tight. Yeah.
Right. And figuring out too, well, at least for me, So during this whole COVID thing, I worked from a laptop for about 7 weeks before I figured out a desktop setup from where I was at. And what I ended up, also like lifting the thing to the right height. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I have to buy like something fancy. I mean, if you want to, you could get some kind of arm, that attaches to like a wall or something, and you could make your screen come out. Like it sounds like, maybe in the van that might be fun for watching movies and stuff too. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can just be some bins of stack of books until you find the right height, and then if you want to buy like a cool laptop stand or something, then you can do it. But at least figuring out the height and kind of your optimal setup first before investing a lot of cash on something very specific.
This laptop I'm broadcasting from is on a cardboard box, and I've cut a little port out of this little hole out of the cardboard box so I can put my little doodad tray in there. Oh, here's my doodad tray. So it's like a little drawer in my cardboard box. So super low tech.
Right. It's funny because, there's all these memes of people, and it's like, it's like the Zoom setup, and it shows like this perfectly clean area sort of behind you. And then on either side, there's all this stuff piled up. I think too, a really interesting view would be everyone showing their actual setup, like how they get things to the right height. And I guarantee that people like are using books and boxes and all kinds of kind of crazy setups too.
In yoga, I took out the yoga blocks. It had been on yoga blocks, but I kind of wanted them for yoga. So now I went to the cardboard box. Yeah, so low tech is awesome.
Yeah. So Betsy, thanks so much for joining us. And if you're watching this and thinking, wow, it'd be really nice if Betsy would look at my setup and maybe make some specific recommendations to me, Betsy does do virtual consults for your home or other place type workstation. So just email her. Her email address is on the screen. We'll also include it in the show notes as well, so it's clickable. But yeah, she's definitely sort of over the years helped me not become a hunched over computer lady. That's always been my goal, and because of her continuous help, I've really been able to kind of stay ahead of it and deal with a lot of issues like dealing with carpal tunnel without surgery and that kind of thing. So Betsy, thanks so much for joining us today. And if you're interested in hanging out with me and Betsy, Anchorspace has a virtual membership. We have a Slack community where we talk to each other. We have morning check-in meetings. I always show up a little late and I hear like the most kind of interesting, when you hear part of a conversation and you're like, oh, that's fun. There's lots of great things happening there. It's $19 a month, and we've got a really nice community going there. That's growing slowly, and we're all kind of getting to know each other really well and helping each other solve problems and grow our businesses. So if you're interested in joining, join that. I think it's a good group. And then I get to hang out with people like Betsy all day. Lucky me. So
I want to put in one more plug.
Absolutely.
That, if you want to make a gift certificate as a present to anyone, and you think Maine is a pretty great place, Nicole has a website called giftmdi.com. And you can get your friends and relatives wonderful gift certificates of neat, fun, beautiful, delicious, tasty, everything sent from Maine. Or anyway, the gift certificate will come to you and then come to your recipient. They would work it out with how to get the object to them. Or come to Maine and pick it up.
Thanks. Yeah, it's true. It's a busy time of year for gift certificates, and it's a great way to help local businesses. So whether you buy it on this local website or not, like just think about supporting your local businesses, services, and people who retail as well. So thanks again, Betsy, for joining us. Thanks to everyone, and I hope you get a comfortable workstation set up at your house, or find some place to work that's otherwise comfortable. And we'll see you next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving, you US-based folks, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.